who's the league MVP today, right now? Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes? Dehls, you're a Hurts guy, so I want to hear your answer on this. Your unbiased answer. Maybe it's biased. I don't know.
I'm always unbiased. I'm the unbiased person in the show. It's kind of my thing.
No, you are. I love you for that.
Smiley face.
First of all, I'm just happy my guy Jalen Hurts in this conversation for MVP. Now, I was a big Jalen Hurts guy. I would be lying if I said I thought he was going to put up MVP numbers this year. I thought gradually throughout the season you would see him become that franchise quarterback everyone wanted and eventually win a playoff game this season. But what he's doing this season is beyond my expectations. First of all, we got to talk about the Eagles as a team. #1 scoring offense. They have 5 games of 35-plus points. To compare that to Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs have done that only 3 times. The #2 rushing attack in the NFL. That is a huge part of Hurts' game. Almost 700 rushing yards, second on the team just behind Miles Sanders. Obviously, the best record in the NFL. And I think one of the biggest things you have to really give Hurts credit for is his toughest test of the year, right? To bring up Tua again, his 2 toughest tests this season, his last 2 weeks, he hasn't really lived up to par. So far for the Eagles, week 2 versus Minnesota, won by 17. They had almost 500 total yards of offense. And then a couple of the agenda ones against the Packers, maybe not on paper a tough opponent, but one of the, narratives around Jalen Hurts, what if the other team, they're keeping up and you can't just run the ball constantly and you have to pass it. Although he did have a ton of rushing yards, they put up 40 points with, again, 500 total yards of offense. He had the second best rushing game a quarterback has ever had, followed up against the Titans, another playoff team, 35 points of offense, 380 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no rushing game. That was straight passing. Nobody was able to run. And then the Giants, a playoff team, divisional game on the road. This should be a tough game. No matter how great the Eagles are, this Giants game should be at least competitive. They won 48-22. Jalen Hurts, I don't know if he played a snap in the fourth quarter. It was complete and utter domination. Right now, Jalen Hurts is my MVP. It's not just because of the Eagles. It's surprise, surprise. It's not just because of their success. Individually, top 5 in total yards, tied for second in total touchdowns. Him and Cam Newton are the only quarterbacks that back-to-back seasons of 10-plus rushing touchdowns. He has not, no. Wow. He also now has the highest quarterback rating over this past week, 3rd in completion percentage. We already know he's one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. Same amount of game-winning drives as Patrick Mahomes, funny enough. And he's doing this with 5 total turnovers on the season, 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Patrick Mahomes had 3 interceptions just last game against the Denver Broncos. Right now, it's Jalen Hurts to win MVP. They're the best team. They're the best offense. He's not turned the ball over. He could throw it deep, intermediate, short, run the ball. There's nothing right now Jalen Hurts cannot do on the football field. On top of that, being one of the best leaders in the game. That was one of my biggest selling points in this offseason was, listen, I know he has to develop as a passer. We see the rushing ability, but you could tell just the team believed in him as early as last season. I even think year 1 when he came in for Carson Wentz, you saw some of that leadership ability. That's only carried over, and that's a big reason why they're 11-2, because they know Jalen Hurts has their back no matter what. He's phenomenal, man. The jump he's taken this year is one that we rarely see in the NFL as a passer. The fact that he could go from, I think, around 58 his first year, 61, 62 his second year, now up to 68%. I mean, he is an elite company in terms of completion percentage. His chemistry he has with Devontae Smith, with A.J. Brown, to Quez Watkins to a lesser extent when he's facing pressure. The fact that he could go from the left hash, being able to throw to the right side of the field with anticipation right when Quez is making that outbreaking route. I mean, Jalen Hurts, we talked about last episode, I think he's already a better passer than Lamar Jackson. Now it's up to him to be in the playoffs, to win game in the playoffs when you have, whether it's tough competition, although the NFC is a bit weaker this year, or it's bad weather, whatever it might be. Everything is sold on Jalen Hurts right now. The Eagles, this is their franchise quarterback. We know that. Now it's a matter of winning playoff games. You are by far the favorite and getting to the Super Bowl because the regular season's done with. You've already done everything you can. You put your MVP case out there. Now it's get to the playoffs. You'll probably have a bye. Now win games, get to the Super Bowl. That will solidify yourself as a top 7 quarterback in the league.
Oh, I'll happily go because a lot of what he said is facts. Passing, it's not a question. Mahomes has been the best passer in the league this season. But when you take rushing into account, and the fact that Jalen Hurts has accounted for over 700 rushing yards and has gotten to the end zone 10 times with his legs, you don't find him like that in the NFL. You have Lamar. He was MVP for a reason. Not only was it a great passer, but the things he did with his legs is something that we've never seen before. Now, history is repeating itself again. Of course, not to the same extent with the rushing abilities and the rushing statistics themselves, but he's running a near-flawless offense, passing and rushing the football. And it's not just allowing him to have success or A.J. Brown and Devonta, but look at what Miles Sanders has done. I've always been a believer in Miles Sanders. I've always believed in the talent for some reason. The Eagles just never seem to fully trust in Miles Sanders. This year, what Jalen Hurts has been able to do for that offense, it has allowed Miles Sanders to have a lot more open field because you can't just scheme up for the run because he will make you pay. Jalen Hurts is a better passer than Lamar Jackson. Just the way that he can just drop balls in wherever he wants to. He's very confident in his abilities right now. And when a player is confident in himself, especially a team that's winning as many ball games as the Eagles are, it's going to be very difficult to knock him off that horse. Number 1 seed in the NFL right now. They have the best record in the NFL. I just don't see it teetering the opposite way. He's really going to have to turn the ball over a bunch. That statistic that Joel threw out at you is the one that I feel like is going to be the deciding factor. The fact that Jalen Hurts has 3 INTs on the season and Patrick Mahomes just threw 3 INTs in one game, I think that right there is going to be the big reason why Jalen Hurts walks away with the MVP, because he limited the turnovers.
And 2 of those interceptions weren't even really his fault. Like, they were tip passes or something like
how many weren't Mahomes' fault?
This past weekend, though, I would say all 3 of them were either good plays by the defense, but still they were on Mahomes.
Love to make excuses for Hurts, man.
Well, at the minimum, no, it's all right.
Hey, excuse for 2 interceptions in
at the minimum,
13 games.
At the minimum, it's not his fault.
Well, they're tip passes or the
3,
drop.
I was going to say, of the 3, the one that really stands out at you that should not have been an INT was the dime that he dropped into A.J. Brown against Washington.
For me, I came up with cases for both players. I think you guys rattled off a lot of good stuff from Jalen Hurts. From the pocket, he ranks first in completion percentage, first in touchdown interception ratio, first in passer rating. The case for him is one sentence. He has the best numbers on the best football team. That's really what his case is. I think when you crunch it down and just summarize it. I have a hard time not giving this award to Patrick Mahomes. I really do.
Understandable.
He's the best player in the NFL.
He is.
And Jalen Hurts, coming into the season, the entire NFC East had cupcake schedules. That's why we saw the Giants get hot. We always knew they were frauds. The Commanders are now getting hot because their schedules lightened up.
They're a good team.
They're more real than the Giants. That's what I'll say.
Their defense is amazing.
They're more real than the Giants. And I remember we had this Giants and Jets debate. That's aged perfectly for the New York Jets, baby.
Has it? The both of y'all might not make the playoffs.
But our defense is elite, and the Giants' defense is trash.
But you both might not make the playoffs. So the argument really is irrelevant. I'm with you.
But Daniel Jones over Zach Wilson did not.
Now, with that being said,
It's true.
The Eagles haven't had a great schedule, and week to week, I have been waiting for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts to face a team that can challenge them, that can take them off their game, and it hasn't happened that often. It really hasn't. To the point that I'm getting to the point that I feel like the Eagles are gonna cakewalk the NFC. I mean, I feel like there's a trail of flowers, of petals waiting for them to the Super Bowl because the NFC stinks. There is no team that is as complete as the Eagles.
Agreed.
The Cowboys are the only one,
Correct.
and they have flaws. And then the Niners, and their starting quarterback is Brock Purdy. We'll talk about him later.
Purdy.
The Chiefs came into this year with the toughest schedule in the NFL. That's why a lot of people had them missing the playoffs. Mahomes this year has the most total touchdowns. He has the most passing yards. He is first in EPA per play. The Chiefs are first in EPA, first in drop back EPA, while the Eagles are first in rush EPA. The Eagles are fourth in drop back EPA. And Mahomes' EPA per drop back against the Broncos is what Jalen Hurts' was for the entire season, and Mahomes had 3 interceptions. But he also had 352 yards, completed 66% of his passes, and had 3 touchdowns.
Solid.
Not only that, but Mahomes has had to carry a team that's defense is 25th in DVOA.
It's dog shit.
Patrick Mahomes does not have a complete roster. We're seeing him do what he did back in 2018 as a rookie, when their defense was dog shit and they faced the Patriots and still almost beat them. And had it not been for a D Ford offsides penalty, Mahomes is going to the Super Bowl in his first year as a starter.
Thank God.
The Chiefs' remaining schedule is the Texans, Seahawks, Broncos, and Raiders. You're going to see the Broncos again.
Tough game.
And it sucks for Mahomes because he's having such an elite season. So is Hurts, rightfully so. But Mahomes was not allowed a game where he had 3 interceptions or else he was going to lose the lead in the MVP race. We now see Hurts as the betting favorite. I do believe, just based off the remaining schedules, the Eagles have the Bears, the Cowboys, the Saints, the Giants. I mean, those are 3 statistical gimme games. Like, he's going to feast on every team outside of maybe the Cowboys. Hurts should be the MVP just based on his remaining strength of schedule, but my MVP, the best player, the most valuable player in the league, is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's not who they give the MVP award to, because then Mahomes would MVP for the next decade. It's, like you said, the best player on the best team, which is usually a quarterback, which is Jalen Hurts this season. I don't disagree, because if you want to be literal, who is the most valuable player, it's going to be Mahomes. But we know that's not how the votes go in any league. Like, we see that in the NBA. LeBron should have fucking 12 MVPs at this point if that's the case. But it goes to the best player on the best team. That's why this year I think Jalen Hurts is going to get it. Don't get me wrong. Mahomes has a great chance. Right now, I believe they're 2 seed though, right? Bills, I think, are right now the 1 seed.
True.
So if they get the 2 seed especially, and Hurts has not only the stats, but also the best record and the 1 seed in the NFC, that's just another, thing you're going to tick off that goes in Jalen Hurts' favor.
Go ahead, Terrell.
Let me say this. I'm about to shake the table a little bit. Piss some folks off. The Eagles are, I'm not going to say the F word.
Stop.
Let me tell y'all the truth about these Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Number one, I hate Patrick Mahomes in the sport, not as a person. I hate Patrick Mahomes more than probably everybody on earth. Like, I hate him.
We're going to have a conversation.
But this man is the MVP, and I'm going to tell you why. The Eagles, I'm not going to say that. You know what? The Eagles are frauds, and this is going to age like wine, hopefully.
It's not. I'm telling you it's not.
Let me tell you this about the Eagles. The Eagles should not have lost a game this year, but let's keep it all the way 100 about Philly. Jalen Hurts, this schedule that you had is ridiculous. But this is what we're not going to do. Because let me tell you this. That game against the Lions, 38-35 shootout. Let Dan Campbell and them boys win 3 more games, and then y'all see them in an early matchup. It's going to be a shootout because the Eagles are noodly, bro. They noodly. And I'm going to tell you why. I let Riv sit on this podcast and say, yeah, the Commanders game was weird. Riv, hold up. They went out there and got washed. And let me tell you this.
Denver got
going back to the MVP conversation. Damn, I'm blanking. I got it. Motherfucking Pat Mahomes has the most, and we knew this going into the season. Juju is a TikTok dancer. Pacheco, we didn't really know what we was going to get. The young boy, Sky Moore, we didn't know how that was going to turn out. And then who else does he have? Does he have MVS? He's got MVS.
Yep.
AJ and Devonta, if they go to the Chiefs, then they're easily wide receiver 1s, if you ask me. Number 2, this Patrick Mahomes got 1,000 more yards passing. He has 10 more passing touchdowns. I'll give Jalen Hurts the rushing.
Thank you.
But at the end of the day, I feel like it has been way tougher for the guy that I hate, Patrick Mahomes. He's had a way tougher schedule this year than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, hold up. Let's just keep it 100 about the Eagles because I'm tired of this. The Eagles went out there joint against the Texans and looked a little shaky. It was shaky at first. And I was like, all right, this is the first time we got to see the Eagles look a little weak on defense. Then y'all went out there against the Commanders, and it was bad. It was bad. I don't care what y'all say. I'm not putting it all on Jalen Hurts, but you the quarterback. The quarterback gets all the credit when you win, and then they always don't get no damn credit when they lose, except unless if you're a certain quarterback in the league.
Talk to him.
But then y'all go out there against the Colts, and you got a nail-biter versus the Jeff Saturday Colts. Jalen Hurts ran the touchdown. I'll give you that. But I got to go with Patrick Mahomes for MVP just because he's doing it against better competition, like what he's up against what he has to work with. Kelsey is a beast. The fact that y'all can just come out on a 3rd and 1 and do a QB sneak because you know you're going to get it. It's almost like everything is better for Jalen Hurts. Pat Mahomes, even though I hate him, I was counting on the downfall of the Chiefs this year. I was so ready for them to be trash.
He's talking. I needed another Broncos fan on here, man.
I'm telling you, we were ready. We was like, oh, Tariq gone, Pat Mahomes, you can kiss it goodbye. But I don't want to harp too much on my Eagles or frauds take, but let me just tell you something.
Quick question, Terrell.
Y'all better. Okay, go ahead.
Who can beat the Eagles in the NFC in the playoffs?
Let me tell you something about that young boy who was what they call him, Mr. Irrelevant, and that defense that they got in San Francisco that'll show up in Philly and do damage. Let me tell you about that Washington Commanders team that already know how to go out there and knock the Eagles
we're not
off.
Doing this,
Who else?
The Dallas Cowboys ain't going to win shit. The Dallas Cowboys ain't going to win shit. But see if they can't go out there and snatch one from the Eagles. I'm just saying.
So that's
Eagles,
3 teams.
The Eagles.
He mentioned the Lions.
Let me tell you something about that Dan Campbell squad and grit. I don't know if y'all watch Hard Knocks, but I am fully bought in on the Lions. They just
have to be.
They just kind of break sometimes. But I have a Vikings agenda, and I haven't even mentioned my Vikings because honestly,
they can't beat us.
I don't think they can. I don't think they'll win.
They're fraudulent.
But that Lions team that put up 35 on Philly to start the year, that Washington Commanders team that went out there and okay, we can win against these. We know what we're doing. Also, I'm not gonna say I'm not. I can't put Geno and him in there. I can't. All I'm gonna say, Pat Mahomes, the motherfucking MVP. I don't care what y'all say. Dehls, I know that's your guy, and I told y'all Dehls was a sharp motherfucker. Yeah. I told y'all he was sharp. But Mahomes is the motherfucking MVP, and I hate him.
Does he remember the Chiefs lost to the Colts?
Yeah, Terrell, I got one thing to say. I hate to do this to you. The Chiefs, in terms of opponents' win-loss record, have actually had the easiest schedule in the NFL. Would you believe that?
Man.
The Eagles are 19th. So it hasn't been hard, but it hasn't been a cakewalk. It's been
Kyler Murray got carted off.
Yeah, I heard.
But when you look at what the Eagles got the best roster in the league.
They do, for sure. But we also talked, we talk about all the time, you put, 100 quarterbacks into a situation, how many doing well? Not a lot of quarterbacks doing what Jalen Hurts is doing in this situation. I know the line, the weapons, I get it, but he's been accurate. Deep ball's been great. The rushing's been great. It's a very similar argument for Tua and Jalen Hurts where, sure, you could put quarterbacks in this situation. They can play well. But these quarterbacks, up until the last couple of weeks for Tua's case, have been playing at top 5 level well, regardless that we don't consider them top 5 yet. I get that. Statistically, this season, they've been playing at a top 5 level. Both have been winning. So you got to give them their credit there. I understand the Eagles got the roster. They're better roster than Kansas City without a doubt. I'm still taking Mahomes over Hurts. I'm not saying that. We know how NFL voters are, though. They're tired of Mahomes. They don't win it every single year. They want to see new people win it. Jalen Hurts this year, as long as they keep it up and they get that 1 seed, it's gonna be very hard to keep him out of the MVP race.
Who's your MVP, Riv?
It's crazy because all year the MVP race has shifted, right? Allen, Lamar, Burrow has jumped into the race. Patrick Mahomes has been pretty consistent, and we talked about it all year. Jalen Hurts' name hasn't got brought up, but he kept winning games, being amazing. And I look at him kind of in the same category as Josh Allen, where he has to do so much for the offense in terms of rushing the ball, being the passer he is. And I know people talk about the schedule, but in terms of both guys, statistically, they've both been amazing. I do agree. Mahomes is clearly the best quarterback in the league. Nobody can take that from him. He has like a LeBron-like stranglehold in the league where he's going to be the best for a long time.
Which he
but
wasn't.
MVP, most valuable player, especially in terms of what Hurts has from last year to this year, the improvements, the team being as stacked as it is, but them being 12-1, I think statistically Mahomes has the case. But when you look in the overwhelming gap the Eagles have on the league and the fact that they've just been so good, they've been consistently better, they've been the most dominant. Hurts has been great for the majority of the year. I think comfortably you can say Jalen Hurts will probably win the MVP based off the end of the season, the way the teams he played. Like we have the Bears on Sunday. going to destroy them. Another Hurts game where he can just rack up more yards, more rushing, passing, TDs. So I just think statistically Hurts is going to be able to catch, if not catch Mahomes, he's going to have elite statistics. But the record, I don't think Mahomes is going to be able to catch that record. He's still dueling for Allen for the top 1 seed in the AFC. He can get one. Maybe the conversation can look a lot different. But I think nobody's taking the Eagles' spot as the number 1 team. They already clinched the playoff spot, which is impressive. So for me, I got Hurts as the MVP. I think comfortably he wins it just because of the fact that the overwhelming gap on how they've been dominant as a team and him being the catalyst of that, his improvement. So I got to give him the award to him.
You know, I've had this thought for a while. I don't think I've ever said it on the show, surprisingly. I don't know why I've never said it on the show. Jalen Hurts is very tough to evaluate in his current situation. You can evaluate him, and I think he does a lot of great and exceptional stuff, but at the same time, the Eagles are just way more dominant than anyone they play for the most part. So it's tough to fully evaluate and gauge where Jalen Hurts ranks truly.
It has what you can say is it has a lot to do with Jalen Hurts and his play. And I know that's not what you're saying. You're not saying the opposite.
His improvement is nuts.
The improvement.
He's improved,
and
for
that's why it feels like he needs something. I don't want to sound corny. The improvement from last year to this year is one of the most dramatic we've ever seen in sports. You can't go from being average to maybe even slightly below average. As a rusher, he was elite for sure.
As a passer,
you could say he was below average, to being great, to entering that class of elite. I wouldn't go as far to say elite passer yet, but entering that conversation. We haven't seen a jump like that almost ever. It feels like he needs something. MVP is strong, but he's deserved it.
I feel like Josh Allen just did it, though.
What do you mean by that?
He made
Correct. The leap.
yeah.
He's in the Josh Allen.
Yeah, he made that jump.
That's still rare.
Exactly.
But Josh Allen wasn't as bad of a passer as Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I don't know. He completed like 59% of his passes.
He was probably just as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like it was, year 4 for Josh? Where he
It was
really
year
put the-
2.
Year 3.
Year 2,
'Cause he went to the
But
Year-
year 2,
year
year 1, he was the least
Year
accurate
2, they
quarterback.
made the playoffs.
Yeah.
But year
and
2,
even
he,
year 2, he was inaccurate.
year 2, he
He also
completed
didn't have a
59% of his passes.
Once they got him Diggs, I think that was
look at the same
So
thing with
year
AJ.
2, he completed 59% of his passes, and year 3, he completed 69%. Josh Allen.
Very similar. I mean, I think Hurts was around 61 or 2 last
Yeah,
year.
it is similar, but that's one thing. Like, I think Jalen Hurts just his personality that stood out to me.
Absolutely.
I love
61
watching
last
his
year.
interviews. I
Intangibles.
think he has a lot of swag
Very
and
handsome.
leadership to him. Darius Slay was on the show and talked about his leadership. So that's what sold me more than what just I've been seeing. I think Hurts belongs in that top 10 solidified discussion, and he can do a lot of off-platform stuff that not other quarterbacks can do.